Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Kalle Sauerland. I would say head of Sauerland Boxing, but I guess it's now head of Wasserman Boxing after today's big news drop. 2 became 1. How are you feeling?
Danny, 2 did become 1, and I'm very happy, first of all, that you picked up on my cryptic post on Friday night. Must admit, had a glass or 2 of champagne when that one came out, and I thought I'd rewind my Spice Girl years to 2 become 1. No, but joking aside, it's huge. I think we said it would be huge. I don't think we let anyone down on that. I think you see what our vision is of a promotional superpower, and you can only do so much yourself. We have been in 5 decades of boxing, ridden ups and downs over years in different markets, and sometimes markets are up, sometimes markets are down. We know that from the UK, we know that from Germany, we know that from lots of different countries. But it's a global sport. We've always had that very much, I wouldn't say almost global, I'd say we've always been Europe's mainland Europe premier partner, promotional outfit. And over the decades. And this move is for us not only an emotional one, because of course it's no longer Team Sauerland, it's Wasserman Boxing, but it's a move that, and I'm sure there'll be a lot written about money and this, that, and the other. And of course, Wasserman is a massively, very well financed outfit, but it's about taking it to another level. And it's about what this can do for our promotional outfit in terms of, not only new clients, but new markets, and developing what we believe we can have we have an infrastructure now, as of today, at Wasserman Boxing, second to none. There's second to none. There's no other promoter I know that can say they've got 1,200 employees around the world, 30 different offices to call on, to go into different markets, expertise. You're talking about some of the most experienced and clever people in sport. You're talking about a client list that includes 40 Premier League winners. You're talking about NHL stars, NBA stars. I'm not going to go into them because unfortunately that's something I'm going to have to learn. I'm going to brush my NBA and NHL and NFL and what else the other names from the US are up a bit. I need to do my homework there. But one thing we will bring is big time boxing. Wasserman doesn't do things in small measures. It's a full on assault. It's a very, very, I don't know how using the word ambitious. Ambitious always sounds like it's, some sort of mad challenge. We're going to do what we've been doing, but we're going to do that with an arsenal behind us now that is, it is second to none. And we will have to turn around into a great client list. We have some fantastic clients at the moment. You look at Chris Eubank Jr., Philip Hergovich, Myra Speed is just winning the World Boxing Super Series. There's 5 Germans finally in the top 10. Germany has a barren couple of years in the world champion sector, but there's 5 suddenly in the top 10. You've got our wunderkind, Sophie Alish, who we feel will take over female boxing. But that's not where we're going to stop. We haven't done this to stop there. So we expect the client list to expand very quickly. And there'll be, markets that we will focus on.
How long have you guys been in talks about doing this, and how did it eventually come together?
I'll tell you something, 9 months. Wow. 9 months. So
from conception to birth.
The child was produced in 9 months, and it's a monster. But
what every parent wants to say.
Because, to be honest, I know that there's a lot of promoters who are unofficially, officially, whatever, up for sale, and that's all cool. We've never been up for sale. We're a family business. We've been going since the 70s. It was a hobby for my dad in the 70s and the 80s. And it's his passion. It was always his passion. So we got a call last summer from Dean Baker, who's one of the main, the biggest agents in the UK. and we had a quick meeting with him and Fari Eshved, who's COO of the European operation, and quickly linked up with the States. And and it's such a fantastic, the thing is, I've worked together with a lot of big agencies, and it's the personal touch. It's the, Mike Watts, the president of the company, Casey Wasserman, the chairman, and the Wasserman, out of such a fantastic, legendary family, and you see what these people have done it outside of the Wasserman business alone. I mean, Casey Wasserman has single-handedly almost brought the Olympics to Los Angeles. So you want to be around winners in all walks of life, and that is something that was the deciding factor for us. Of course, it's professional boxing; it's about money as well, absolutely. And we've been flabbergasted by their approach, the way they approach sport, and the way they are a business that wants to grow still as well, being the biggest, but they want to grow as well. And that message was very, very, very clear from the outset. And so, yes, of course, it's a business deal. It's professional boxing, but it's also a deal that we believe will take this to a totally new level.
What will be your and your brother Nisa's new job titles, and will your roles in effect change in any way?
You know me, I'm not a fan of titles, but I'm sort of the global head of boxing, but the roles that we had at Team Sauerland will be very similar. There'll be obviously a lot of Wasserman people coming in as well. I actually will be very much concentrating on my chief boxing officer role at the World Boxing Super Series as well. That's for me a lifetime project. It's something that I'm obviously very, very close with, and I'm delighted to be chief boxing officer at the World Boxing Super Series, and it's something which we're also going to grow from strength to strength. And season 3 is coming up, and my role there is the same as before, to put together those lineups. Ultimately, those are decided by the board. It's just my recommendations, and I think we've done a fantastic job in the first 2 seasons in providing the lineups that have made fans lick their lips, and we reap the rewards as in terms of achieving every award you can win in the sport of boxing. So that's all. So it's busy times, but I'm only 43. Got some time to go.
And without kind of prying too much into the financials, do you now have shares in Wasserman? Are you now part of the Wasserman ownership structure?
And Danny, when it comes to things like that, me, I'm a very shy man. No, I mean it's a full acquisition of the business, and it's a complex deal structure, but I'm not at liberty to discuss that further. I can just tell you it's a deal which puts us as an extremely well financed boxing organization with a wealth of networks, infrastructures to take it to another level, and that was the key for us.
You mentioned Eubank Jr. earlier. Were he and his team aware that this was in the works when they signed? And if so, was it a kind of more of a carrot to get them to join as well?
They've been aware, and they're big fans as well. And look, it also, I think that Junior is a brand in himself, and I think he's someone that within the Wasserman infrastructure is going to massively benefit. And I see other characters as well. I mean, El Animal, Filip Hrgović, he's such a personality. Whoever you talk to in boxing, it's an exciting time for heavyweights, but you can't mention the future of the heavyweight division without talking about Filip Hrgović. So I think that's also something, and we talk about completely different areas there. One, we just talked about the UK, obviously Filip is more US and Balkan based at the moment, so it's like we said, we've always been this European powerhouse promoter, but I think that now this can take it to a whole new dimension, and without biting off too much of the cake, because in boxing you can spread yourself too thin. We've seen it over many years. I remember Mickey Duff in the 80s trying to do US and the UK back to back, and it didn't really pan out, and Mickey was one of the greatest promoters of all time. And I think you can bite off a bit too much sometimes, but this infrastructure allows for that, and we'll keep that personal touch, which I think Team Sauerland, I'd like to think, has always had. If you ask any fighter who's been with Team Sauerland, or any world champion who's been with Team Sauerland, they'll all look back at it with very happy memories, and ask David Hay, you can ask George Groves at the UK, you can ask any of our world champions, ask Mikkel Kessler. It's always been a very family contact. I'm actually, those three people I've messaged with in the last few weeks on a totally social level. So it's something that we've always kept it like a family, and that's something that we won't lose. Wasserman Boxing will also, despite being on a much bigger corporate level, we will make sure that family touch remains.
You talked about expanding the roster. The press release mentioned staging shows as well. Any news on kind of broadcast partners to that effect? No,
I mean we announced 2 hours ago. I mean, Dan, I'm fast, but not that fast. No, I mean we've got our main assets. Let's say our A-liners are all going to be out in the next few months, and we're working with other promoters, and we will look to add to that roster very, very quickly, on an A, B, and C level. A is obviously the world champions or big names. The Bs are the ones who either have been there or potentially could get there, and then you've got the Cs, which in our book are also the up and comers. So we'll be looking to strengthen on all three levels. Like I said, I think we have a great, compact, very tiny team, which is very impressive, not only now, but it's one that isn't sort of reaching the end of where that team will go. I think they're all boxers which have still got a mark to prove. Even Myris Breedis, 3-time world champion, just won the World Boxing Super Series. He's looking to step it up to heavyweight. Will he potentially do the Akoli unification fight as the last fight at cruiserweight? That's something we're in discussions with. But those are all exciting things, blockbuster summer event with Eubank Jr. absolutely on the cards. That's going to be happening. And we'll obviously have to see with the pandemic. At the moment, Germany is a nightmare for us, because it's simply, it's full lockdown, and at the moment we're not coming out of it. So some of those things will have to get pushed back a bit, but it's pause and not stop, and that will be back too. So it gives us ample time as well to find out where we are with new signings, with new partners, and but like before, there's nothing's changed, in that sense. We're still, still have our network of promoters that we work with, and I think we're proud to say there's not many promoters on planet Earth who we don't get on with and who we don't work with.
No, I agree, but as it said in the press release, you'll be promoting shows. Presumably, some of those will be just you guys rather than co-promotions.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Danny. And that's something that we will do very, very fast. But when you look at really big events, it's rare that it's a single promoter these days. That's a thing of the past. I can't think of many big events. I mean, we can talk about the biggest event in boxing this year, hopefully. That's got, what you got in there? You've got MTK, you've got Frank Warren, Top Rank, Matchroom, 258 Management, So
4 different broadcasters.
4 different broadcasters. That's what it takes. That's great to see, by the way. That is fantastic to see. All of those people working together, that's fantastic to see. And you know, it will be the same going forward. I mean, Eubank Jr., he's got to have a tango partner, you know. So whether it's, you know, we work very, very well in the UK with Eddie, you know, very well. But we've, you know, at the same time, you know, if the promoter comes from Mr. Honda from Japan and his name's Murata, then we'll obviously look at doing something there. But you need to work together in boxing. You know, we've never been big egos. You know, that's something that we won't suddenly become because we're working together with a superpower. You know, that doesn't change. You know, no, we work to make it a success and to put on the biggest events, and that's at the end what you're judged by and what you want to be remembered for.
Just more on a hypothetical level, it's common knowledge that Matchroom Sky contract comes up for renewal this summer. Matchroom, Eddie Hearn has said openly he has a decision to make, whether sticking with Sky in the UK or putting all his business worldwide with DAZN. If Sky do find themselves without a boxing promotional partner, is that something Wasserman Boxing would be open to, filling that void?
Well, I mean, if that was a situation, of course it's interesting. It's interesting for any promoter on the planet. You know, it's. I mean, in the last 10 years, it's been the premium platform in the UK. You know, it's a fantastic platform. You know, it's somewhere where you can greatly position A-listers. You can build the season B, as I mentioned earlier. You know, it's not just about putting big ones on. You need to invest and develop in the sport, and that's something that we have historically done. We've taken always a lot of fights. A lot of our world champions, I would say 70 to 80% of our world champions, and that's over 50 world champions over the years. Yeah, 50. 70, 80% of those we have built from scratch, from ground zero. Yeah. And that's something where 100% you want to do that in the UK, you need a strong broadcast partner. But the market it's in a time, you know, I mean, a month ago we never even heard of Triller, you know. Suddenly Triller is on everyone's lips. It's, you know, 3 years ago we hadn't heard of DAZN, you know. So it's you know, the industry is expanding massively on the media side of things. So the fact that you'll see more entities entering as promoters or in what function it is, that's fine, and that will come. That would be weird if it didn't. You know, it's supply and demand, whatever business you're in. And I think there's a lot of exciting things on the broadcast side, which I know a few things happening in the background that will come to light, you know, and that's a very interesting time to be announcing a deal like we have today.
Such a tease, Kalle. Talking of the Hearns, what has this deal done apparently to piss off Barry Hearn?
What are we referring to?
He responded to the tweet of the announcement just with one word: joke.
Okay.
And people are now speculating why.
I've got to confess, I've been in back-to-back interviews, so I haven't had the time to read Barry Hearn's Twitter page. It's nice that he's reading ours, so maybe I don't know. I guess I would go on what the comments are to that. I'm sure they can't be too positive, but I think that must be a bit of tongue-in-cheek, knee-jerk reaction, I'd say. I don't know. I mean,
they're pretty positive. People are coming back saying, well, what's the problem with it, Barry? It seems to be quite positive news.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure whether it's I don't know if it's sarcastic or it's a knee-jerk reaction. I'm not sure. But... maybe someone's hacked his account.
Yeah, maybe. That's maybe what he says regardless. But
this should be great news for Barry.
Yeah, well, I agree. I don't know what the issue is, but I thought I'd ask. You mentioned Filip Hrgović earlier. A lot of people asking on social media, so I've got the opportunity to speak with you. When do you anticipate the purse bids being? Because I know you've asked for them.
Oh, it is April 6th.
April 6th.
I think it's April 6th. Yeah, pretty sure it's April 6th. Yeah.
Were
And
there many
talk's still ongoing.
negotiations? Oh, sorry, go.
Talk's still ongoing. Talk's still ongoing. Talk's still ongoing, and that can go on till the very last minute. It's a great fight, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Isn't it? It's a cracker. So if it's a purse bid, I guess it's a purse bid. But I hope we can get a deal on, and we can get it in, announced quick. And, because purse bids can sometimes slow things down in announcements and stuff. But we'll see. We've got a few days left. I think at the end of the day, it's been a bit frustrating. They've seemed to have chopped and changed who's representing them. Now they seem to have some very good people that they have representing them. But the first few weeks were a bit confusing. I know Eddie did a great job trying to get signed done, and then he thought he had signed done, and it wasn't done, and but we're talking to them, and that's something we hope we can find a deal before the purse bid. But at the end of the day, the purse bid's there to provide that security of a date, and the most important thing is I need it to happen because I think Filip Pergovic is going to punch me through my phone because he's itching for this. I mean, he wants this fight. He's flown over to camp already. No date. I said to him, "You sure you want to do it?" He said, "El Animal need to train." So I said, "Okay, all right, okay."
Is that your Filip Pergovic impression?
My conversations with Filip, they're legendary. And one last year, he goes to me, "Kalle, I understand Corona, but I just need to punch someone in the face." And I'm like, "Oh, right, okay. Well, does that fall under my role as well?" So no, he's a real character, and I think boxing's going to have a lot of fun with him. He's such a personality as well.
And before I let you go, just tell people out there in a couple of sentences, if you can, what they can expect from the merger between Team Sauerland and Wasserman Boxing.
One sentence: we're taking it to a whole new level.
Good stuff. All right, well, best of luck. I'm sure it's going to be a busy day for you and a busy few months as well. But great news, I think, for
Thanks
boxing.
very much, Danny.
Looking forward to seeing how it unfolds.
Thanks very much. Over and out.
Cheers, mate. Take care.